Hi everybody, my name is Rob Gordon, and this is a presentation of the Entrepreneur, Self-Employed, and Small Business Community on Google+. And today we're going to talk about a subject that I think interests everybody. We're going to talk about the relationship between entrepreneurship and personal growth, what I actually call a special relationship. Before I get into that and introducing the people here, I want to just cover one administrative issue. I got a message from a business coach last night, and there's some confusion, not confusion, but lack of my own clarity on what we're doing with these Hangouts. This is not the Rob Gordon Show. What we want to do is use the HOA technology as a way for community building on the entrepreneurs community. And that's not easy to do because the technology itself is set up for individuals. It's not set up for communities. For example, people could just post that they're having an event on our entrepreneurs community, and then sometimes we don't even know them. So what we did was we set up a policy for that kind of works. I think it will work. Or basically, we keep the branding. So for instance, the branding of this show is Let's Talk About. And then each show kind of has its own little theme. So this one is like an informal discussion. We don't pretend we're experts. The woman that wrote me wanted to be an expert. She says, well, I'm an expert in personal growth, and there's proven strategies. I have some differences with that opinion. But that's not why. I'll get into those later. But what the point I wanted to make to her was, well, we do have a show for you, a branding show for you, and that's called Pool Our Knowledge. So if you wanted to give a more, a more presentation type show hangout, we would help you promote it, and that would be more of a you had a PowerPoint presentation. You do feel you're an expert in some topic, so we'll help that. That would be a different branding, and then we have the small business coffee break, where if you just wanted to host a networking meeting, including in a different time zone. I'm in a terrible time zone for these. So some of the Australian folks want to do something. So in other words, what I'm trying to say here is the Let's Talk About is not the Rob Gordon Show. You could do a Let's Talk About series. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way in the beginning. If I said it at the end, nobody would hear it. So let's move on to the topic of this show, and it's kind of interesting. And it's real interesting. When I said there was a special relationship between entrepreneurship and personal growth, there really, really is. I was watching that PBS television show on the Roosevelts, and Churchill kept pushing for the special relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom. So that's kind of where that came from. As I was writing it up, I was actually watching the show at the same time. And I think with other endeavors, somebody's in a regular job or whatever, you could sort of separate them. But with entrepreneurship, personal growth is absolutely integral. It overlaps in absolutely everything. There's no really great way to draw the line. So a couple things before we get into a looser discussion. When this business coach said to me there's proven strategies, I do believe that. But I also believe in something called entrepreneurial paradox, which I've noticed. And that is that any advice you get in entrepreneurship is almost like those Chinese proverbs, where you can find an opposite for everything. So, Chinese proverb, look before you leap, but then he who hesitates is lost. Totally the opposite. There's a bunch of those in entrepreneurship. Some people say, if you have a business idea, never tell anybody. Keep it secret. Some people say if you have a business idea, tell everybody. There's all sorts of them. In fact, almost everything is a paradox. Do a great business plan. Business plans are a waste of time. They go on and on and on. So with that paradox in mind, I also want to note something else that I've just noticed myself. Because in addition to things that are kind of paradox related, there's also what I would call timeless knowledge. And the things we're seeing, we read, have really been said throughout the ages in different, what do you call it, academia, in spirituality and philosophy and science and neuroscience. and through, you know, hundreds of years. Well, one that comes to mind, and this is not the only one, is that people say we have a subconscious, and there's some way you can deliver messages to it, and it will work for you even while you're sleeping. So that's just one example, whether you believe that or not. So anyway, I've rambled enough. I don't even know if I'm making any sense here. But anyway, this overlaps in absolutely everything. So the way I thought I would start here, and I would prefer, especially if you're a business coach, that you say first at least what works for you, and then you say, you know, what you found works for other people. I was joking with a friend of mine the other day is how great we both are at giving advice to other people and knowing what other people should do. It's a little harder for yourself. So let's start by going through and hammer out one. Well, tell us, you know, briefly introduce yourself, your name. I'd like to know what city and country you're in. And then give us one insight you've had that has helped you. It doesn't have to be your most profound one. You can save your ammunition for later if you want. But just give us one thought or idea related to personal growth and entrepreneurship that said, this has helped me both do my business better and become a better person, or something along that line. So we're going to start left to right. So we're going to start with Henry. Henry, why don't you introduce us to yourself and give us one of your insights. Henry, did you drop out? Do you still hear us? Is your microphone muted? You were just talking to him. Henry, we'll come back to you. We'll go to Joanna. Joanna, I think you can hear us, right?
Hi, I'm Joanna Roach. I'm from Ottawa, Canada. I do small business coaching and sales training. My biggest thing, what I think for personal growth that's helped me and everyone else that I've worked with, I believe, is the constant desire for reading and reading new books to help me form better opinions, to be able to position myself better, and also the same thing with my clients. So I think that would be my best thing. Is that's not only an entrepreneurship, but it's also personal growth. So it's a combination of the two.
So just keep feeding the brain, you're saying, with good.
Absolutely. You got to keep feeding the brain, and also not only feeding the brain, but also to be able to discuss those topics with other individuals to make sure that you get all the different angles. And so this is a really good forum to do that on a particular book or something. Yeah. Okay.
Next we have Camilla. For some reason I've got a mental block against pronouncing her name right. I do apologize.
Said it even worse.
She is a business coach. So Camilla, could you introduce yourself, please, and pronounce your name correctly? So I think you can do.
Yes, I definitely can do that. So my name is Camila Gornia. Am I on the screen or?
Yeah, I can see you. You're fine.
Okay. Yeah, so my name is Camila Gornia, and I am a marketing strategist, and I focus on social media and content marketing, really on the authentic kind of connection.
Oops, we lost you. Did we lose you? Okay, we lost her connection, so we'll come back. She said authentic connections. I know she's a law of attraction person, too. I'd like to hear a little bit about that. Let's move on to Preston.
You know, I love being here and talking about
personal. Sorry, Camila, we lost you for a second. Could you go back and repeat like your last couple sentences?
Sure. Where did I lose you?
It's authentic.
Oh yeah. So so I'm also a business coach, and I really work with passion-driven solopreneurs. So people that have been in business for less than 3 years, they don't have a huge team just yet, and they really want to get in front of more people. And the things I really focus on are marketing and mindset. So it's awesome that I'm here, and you know we're talking about the personal development, because that's definitely something that I has really built me to where I am right now, and I love talking about this with my clients as well. So I think the biggest thing for me in terms of entrepreneurship and personal development kind of has been just the ability and the willingness to experiment and do a lot of trial and error, and not being afraid to fail. And really, you know, with every failure or challenge, you know, there's something to learn from that. And, you know, it's just having that kind of mindset that, you know, helps you move forward and really notice the opportunities that stand in front of you.
Outstanding. Yeah, I mean, willingness to fail and to learn from failure, and maybe even to redefine failure is obviously really key to what we're doing here. Preston, is that you? You keep appearing and reappearing on my screen, and can you hear us? Is that Preston? Is that the wrong name here? I'm not. My mouse over's not working. Oh, someone's. Your microphone might be muted. Preston, can you hear us? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, no, it just wasn't letting me get in. I had a 404 error, so.
No worries.
So I'm here. Thanks for inviting me.
Okay. Why don't you introduce yourself, including your city and country, and tell us any personal growth insights you've had somewhat recently. They don't have to be major, just things that have helped you, things you've learned.
My name is Preston. Yeah, my name is Preston Odenbrett. Originally from Minnesota, living in Honduras right now. Sorry, can't list the city for safety reasons. We are actually, I guess what I've learned is recently is just working with the right people and connecting with them and helping each other with challenges and with successes really is a good thing to do, and I appreciate being part of many different groups like that. So.
Okay. Great. And let's see, is it Ben? I'm not getting the name when I do. Roy. Roy, are you?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
Hey, yeah, Roy from California. I'm known as the speed relationship guy. I love relationships. I love helping people to build them quickly, because I think a lot of people realize not that they can. And so especially today with social media the way that it is, I mean, you can build it quicker, even more so, and especially in one of these Hangouts on Air. So I'll just leave it right there. And one of the biggest things about this topic, I love this topic, first of all, Rob, because entrepreneurship and personal growth, I mean, they go hand in hand. If you want to be maximized as an entrepreneur, then you've got to maximize your personal growth, because if you don't grow, your business doesn't grow. There's just no ways, two ways about it. It's just, that's just what I have found. I believe it to be true for other people as well, because someone who says to me, hey, Roy, can you help me take my business to the next level? Yeah, are you willing to go through and to the next level first? Because your business will follow wherever you are. And I'll just leave it right there as well. Thanks.
No, that's great, Roy. Something I forgot to say when my kind of rambling introduction here was young people these days have a lot of disadvantages over when I was growing up. I think, college, for example, it was practically free when I was growing up. But they have one big advantage. Just the knowledge out there is so much better and so much more. It's backed up by science now. Just the how to do things from an entrepreneurial perspective, and even spiritual knowledge, how to manage our own minds. Just the information is just much better now. And like I say, there's enough of a consensus out there on a lot of things that there's still always room for debate, but a lot of things are just kind of starting to come together, and it's more we have to do it. Henry, are you back with us yet? Your microphone's showing muted. Henry's in the Philippines, so maybe he's having a...
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Like I got hanged like Camilla a while ago. Henry here, Henry James from the Philippines. It's 2 a.m. It's 2:15 a.m. here, and I'm still up because I work at night. I'm a night owl like Rob. I don't do sit-ups, Rob. But of course, as for personal growth, and yes, personal growth is such a subjective matter. And actually, I love what Roy said a while ago. That almost sums it up. But I guess he'd be sharing more. You have, in order for you to focus on your business, you have to focus on yourself first. Because if you're not ready, you are not ready for business. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
You have to work on yourself first. That's good. That's a good thing to know. Somebody has joined us, and I'm not seeing the name. I have to. Oh no! Wait a minute. Oh, Camilla, you've cloned yourself. There's two of you. good. So you're clone. You've entered an alternative universe with another one of you. Okay. My insights.
No, it's good. I don't know what happened.
My insights that I've had somewhat recently has a little bit to do with time management, and that is the insight that we can't really manage our time. We can only manage our energy. And let me talk a little bit more about that, because what kind of energy am I talking about? And it's just out of some thinking, and this is just a model that I use, and it could be wrong, but I believe there's three kinds of energy. I believe you, of course, have physical energy. You know, if you're clearing your yard out or something, you're going to use a lot of your physical energy. You have emotional energy, both positive and negative, and you have cognitive energy, or thinking energy. And all of those are finite. And this is kind of backed up by theory, especially cognitive energy. You can only think so much in one day. Obviously, you can only do so much physical energy in one day, and probably you can have only so much emotional energy in one day. So one of the insights I've had I'm trying to do is to look at that almost as a budget. You know, you want to preserve these things, but you also want to spend them. You know, if you're I love this the 10 idea list. That's you make a list of 10 things and you really try to think hard. And that's from James Altucher, who was the founder of Twitter. Really brilliant guy. And he does that every day. And he says after you do that for a while, you start getting ideas really easily. So I guess the point I'm making is you both have to preserve this, but you might want to spend it also. So for example, emotional energy you kind of would tend to think is only negative, but you might really want to use some of it. For example, if you're doing writing, you might want to really build up your passion on something. So that's one insight I've had. And whether it's right or not, I don't know, but I'm trying. The insight, manage your energy, not your time. So let's move on with a more, now we've all introduced ourselves, let's kind of move on with a more broad-based discussion. Again, I don't even know what's most important because this overlaps on everything. But let's talk about a big one. Let's talk about the meaning of success. What does success mean to us? I mean, that's kind of, and anybody can jump in now. We're not going to go in order or something. Anybody want to give us some insights on that one?
You know, I think success it's interesting because everybody sees it differently. Obviously, some people are only driven by how much money they make, and some people, like me, are really driven by the impact that I make on other people, and really seeing the community as it grows, and seeing my clients succeed, or just like anybody that I touch, whether I'm a blogger too, and I've done, like, this is not my first business either, so with pretty much every single thing, for me, success is knowing that I have either encouraged someone to go after what they want to do, or inspire them to do what they want to do, or just feel like they can take action and really move forward with whatever it is, wherever they are at the current time.
That's wonderful. Someone else? Joanna?
So I'm very much the same thing as Camilla. I also, for me, success is defined by the ability to pay it forward in everything that I do and trying to connect other individuals. And so when that connection is happening, or I have that ability, to me that is one of the key, I guess, euphoric feelings of success. And I also think success is the ability to have your life, to live it the way that you want to have it, so every day that you have a perfect day. So how you set out to want to have that day, and it rolls out just like you want it to, is defining success. It not necessarily always has to do with financial. Financial will come later.
Roy, what do you think about that? Roy, are you with us? We lost Roy for the moment. Henry, everybody's microphone is muted.
Actually, I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm here. Yes, really quickly, I've been thinking about this, and for me, success is basically what A.L. Williams says. He's got a great book. The title of his book is All You Can Do Is All You Can Do, but All You Can Do Is Enough. And if you really take each and every day, the 24 hours you've been given, and give it your all, it's enough. That's success to me.
Okay. Anybody else want to weigh in on that? Let me ask a harder question. But I don't know the answer. Go ahead.
I just want to say, well, so how do you define success, Rob?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know yet. Can I think about it?
Yes, you can.
I really don't know.
There's a hard question for you.
Something I'm working on. I don't know. I have to say I don't know. So, I mean, that's fair, isn't it? I don't have to know everything.
No. That's why we get together and learn from each other.
Let me think about that during the course. Maybe I'll come back to that
Okay.
during this hangout. But let me ask a harder question that I also don't know the answer to. What is power? Anybody? What does power mean to you?
Well, there's different elements of power. I believe there's political power and clout that way, or power also means is the ability to position yourself in the life that you want to have. So that's more my vision of what.
Camelia, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, power is being comfortable with doing what you want to do.
Pardon me?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead, Camille.
That he asked me to go. Yeah, I was gonna say that to me, power is kind of just like allowing yourself and being comfortable with taking action and being comfortable with following your purpose, or not necessarily your purpose, but just like what you think you want to do.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I believe that power is strength under control. There's a lot of people that think that they're very, very powerful, but they have strength out of control. You all know what I mean. I don't want to get into that. But the next thing I want to say is you're at your most powerful when you allow yourself to be vulnerable. I love Brené Brown's research.
Yeah.
I haven't really read her book, but I'm an audio kind of guy, so I've listened to a lot of the interviews she's done. And for me, you can't hide or cover or erase certain emotions, the negative ones, because they're all there. Emotions are emotions. So when you deaden your, darker emotions, your bright emotions are darkened also, and they're therefore love, joy, happiness. So for me, power is just knowing these things and then becoming vulnerable.
Okay. You brought some important issues that I want to come back to, but I just wanted to say one insight. I have a little personal growth community on Google+. It's got a few hundred people in there, I think even less. But when I asked that question there, because also I don't know, what exactly is power? I mean, I sort of know political power, economic power, but what exactly is personal power? And one person on there, I forget who, said that power is really when you take complete responsibility for your own life and where you're at. And I thought that was an interesting answer that I just wanted to mull a bit. But Roy, you brought up an interesting question about emotions and that kind of thing. And one, I said there was a lot of insight, both practical and spiritual, that we have access to. One of them really is about the ability to control your thoughts. I didn't know until just recently that book, Think and Grow Rich, by Napoleon Hill. Do you remember he kept talking about, throughout the whole book, about there's a secret in this book, and once you figure it out, you're going to raise a glass of champagne? I never did figure it out. I read the damn thing like 3 times. Well, I finally looked up on the internet, what is the damn secret in that book? And the secret was that you can control your thoughts. And so I'd like to get people's thoughts on positive thinking? Does it work? How do you do it? Or would, anything? I don't want to lead the witness. How do you implement positive thinking in your life, or do you? Anybody?
Ladies first. I got something to say on this too.
Okay. I definitely use positive thinking through all aspects of my life, both in my personal and my business life. One of the things that I do to make sure that I stay positive, I have a gratitude journal that I have beside my bed, and every night I write everything that I'm grateful for the entire day, which also makes sure that reinforces that positive attitude of things that happen. Could be as little as, I resisted that kilo of chocolate sitting on the counter.
Joanne, I hear that all over the place too. Like, gratitude just, and I can't ignore it. So many different kinds of people with different personalities say this. Like, be grateful. I bemoan my own situation probably more than most people. Financially things aren't great. I'm living in a little dumpy studio, blah, blah, blah. However, I'm probably living better than 99% of the people in the world. Really. I mean, there's just a lot of misery in the world, and I mean, it's all a matter of perspective. In some ways, I'm doing, in some countries, I'd be, the upper elite, So, I mean, it is a matter of perspective. Other thoughts? Positive thinking. Does it work?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it works. It's very prevalent throughout my life as well, and it's something that has changed my life a lot because I'm more of a naturally pessimistic person. Glass half empty for me most of the time.
Thank you for admitting that.
Yeah, and I really had to, work at being more positive and doing it with an intent to, change over my life and just think of things more positively. And it's really changed my life, my whole perspective. If something goes wrong, I look at the positive, I look at the opportunity that could potentially be there, rather than, wasting my time and energy on, oh my gosh, I wish this didn't happen, like this sucks, da da da, like that's a waste of time to even think about that. And I, now I kind of notice how a lot of people are in that kind of negative loop, and they just want to relive these negative emotions. Like, why don't you just move forward and see what you can do from there on out, that you can, just continue living.
You just broached a bunch of important topics. You called it a negative loop, and I think that's what happens to all of us. We just get stuck in that loop. What I want to express about negative, and it is important to talk about negative energy as much as it's important to talk about positive energy. Somebody has a mic issue. Could you take care of that?
I think it's Roy.
Is it me?
Yeah, Roy. Yeah. Roy, could you temporarily mute and then just unmute when you come back to talk? We're wired for negative. Evolutionarily, our whole brain is more concerned about the saber-toothed tiger that's about to kill us than somebody writing a hostile email to us. So we're just wired to perceive threats, and they're much more important. I should have looked up the reference, but if somebody says something negative to you, and this happens online all the time. Online really can be a disaster for this. Somebody says something negative to you, it's immediate. It's immediate, and it gets your energy, and it gets your attention right away. Somebody says something positive to you, that takes 14 seconds to absorb, which is a long time. And you have to hear it repeatedly. That's kind of a human tragedy when you think about it, that we're wired that way. I would rather pay attention to the person that's nice to me, that I'm like-minded with, but the whatever, they get the attention. So what are your techniques for handling negative thoughts and trying to get positive thoughts? Anybody?
Well, one of the things I do is I don't surround myself with negative people. I only surround myself with positive people that are going to embrace the challenges or the goals that I have put into place. And all those naysayers, they're off the list. I also have a nickname for them. I call them oxygen thieves, because they suck the air dry and then try to suck you in at the same time, and you just get choked by them.
Well, I'm not sure I like the name naysayers, because skepticism is not necessarily negative.
if you're trying to work on your business and you've come up with a great new idea for a product launch and you're surrounded by people that just say, well, I don't know if that's really going to work. Do you think it's going to be all right? Like, how much time and energy are you going to put into it? If you look around and have that negative stuff around you, that's going to pull you down. So.
Yeah. No, I do agree with that, especially with new ideas. New ideas are very fragile when they're new. And negative stuff just kill. I remember years ago, I had the idea, and I'm not saying I had the idea that I was, because I think millions of people, but I had an idea for an Uber-like system, and this was before it existed. And somebody just came on and told me all the rapes and murders and people would get hacked to death if this happened and how horrible it would be, and it was just like really negative. Now, I'm under no delusion that I would have gone and built Uber, but it was like, you know, you killed something in its grave like that. So anyway, I do agree with that. A few things I've heard about negative thoughts. This doesn't really work for me, but a few things I've had heard. Heather Bond mentioned, she's a neuro-linguistics programming specialist, and I posted a video on that little community where a guy says, you know, if you get a negative thought, you can actually imagine it being whited out. Like you know, you obliterate it by whiting it out. And you know, neuro-linguistic programming believes, you know, you're getting things through different channels. You're getting things through an audio channel or a video channel. So that would be if it was a visual negative thought. If it's an audio negative thought, you just turn down the volume. But I forget what you do if it's a feeling negative thought. But then you could do all three. That didn't really work for me. And then I saw another program about charisma. And she, a really wonderful video. I'll try to think of the name and post on the community later. But she says you look at negative thoughts like just graffiti. You're passing by, like ugly, obscene graffiti. It just enters you, but you just kind of pass it by. And that didn't work for me. So now I look at it as kind of a storm that happened. A summer squall that, you know, kind of drenched everybody, but it just happened. Let it happen and then get out of it and go on. That's just me. Other thoughts on that? Or? No. I've dazzled everyone.
The ladies had to leave. They said so in the text chat. So
ladies are leaving. Oh my goodness.
They had to run. So let me finish up on the thought about what Joanna was saying earlier about negative people and not being around them and just being around positive people. Zig Ziglar refers to them as a SNIOP, and it's a SNIOP. It's an acronym for people who are susceptible to the negative influences of other people. And so many of us, yes, gravitate that way. It's like you get around a negative person, and before you know it, you're spewing negativity, and you're hardly even aware of it until somebody brings it to your attention.
I think we're just wired that way, Roy. I just think that's human nature. It's hard. You have to work to get around that. So I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to grasp what you're saying. So what are you saying is human nature?
That we're more attentive to negative things.
Yes, by default, yes. That's I agree with you, Rob. By default, we can see it in our kids. Kids are more apt to complain about other kids than they are to compliment other kids. By nature, by default. This is the way we're brought into this world. Now, that doesn't mean that we need to stay this way, because obviously, as we grow, it doesn't serve us as well as it does when we compliment people. I'd rather compliment people all day long than complain about them all day long. I know I would. It would exhaust me to complain about people 8 hours a day. I don't know about you, Rob, or the rest of you.
Okay. Preston, what do you think?
I agree. You know, the thing is that, Roy, I need to ask you this question because this comes up quite a bit. You know, you can be positive all day long. You can read the right books. Obviously, with myself, I read the Bible and I use Scripture a lot. And sometimes I use Scripture on something that's gone wrong with me during that day. I write it on a piece of paper and then throw that piece of paper away. And that really helps because it allows me to lift away all the cares that were on that day. But the challenge is not necessarily you being positive. You know, like she said, you have to hang around with the right kind of people. Well, the right kind of people online are great, right kind of people offline are great, but even in a family situation, some of them are not positive. So how do you always continually be positive when the family members seem to be negative?
That's a really good point.
That is a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Henry, you got an answer?
Somebody else answer to that one.
I don't have an answer here.
Well, I'll take a stab at it. I'll take a stab at it. This is what I've been teaching people because I had to do it myself. And yes, it is true. You cannot choose your family, or your family-in-laws, okay?
Definitely.
And, yeah, it's supposed to be all good, right? Especially if it's family. Blood is supposed to be thicker than water and all of that. But
Not supposed to be.
it's supposed to be. But I think that where things go wrong in relationships when it comes to family is that, and I'm going to say this vaguely just to be funny, but it does mean a lot. So the reason I don't have a good rapport with a family member or them with me is because one of us or both of us don't know what we don't know that we should know about this relationship so we can make it better. That's the key. The key is we don't know how to make it better. So therefore it remains where it is, wherever it's plateaued. And if it's the Thanksgiving dinners, right? The Christmas time, the holiday time. It's like you tolerate these people. For me, it would be better if you took them aside and went, you know what? I just got to get this off my chest. I just got to really say this to you. I hope you understand. I mean it with all the love in my heart. But the relationship between us is not what I want it to be. How can we make it better? Are you willing to make this better, or is this the best it's going to get? And do we have to do this every time we see each other? And the people that we're involved with, maybe it's a brother-in-law, maybe it's a sister-in-law, maybe it's a sister or a brother. I think nothing happens until one person takes the initiative to say, I want this relationship better than what it is. Let's talk about it. What will it take for both of us to make it better? That's what I think.
Good thoughts there. We're not too far off from the 45-minute mark, and we've lost some people, so I don't want this to go on forever. One more thing, and again, another thing I don't know the answer to. What is the relationship between your purpose and your goals? Can you find your life purpose? Have you guys? Do you feel like I have not. But do you feel like, you can find your life purpose? If so, how do you do that? Is that too big of an issue, or it's just like, let it find itself? Any thoughts on that? I'm going to be asking the question for myself as much as...
In one word, yes. You can understand, know, and implement your life's purpose if you know where to look. That's the key. If you don't know where to look, you'll be looking under all the wrong rocks, and you'll be given all the wrong answers, and you won't be satisfied. So for me, personally, the way I found it is just do what you're put on this planet to do. In other words, when I sign my checks, I sign it with my right hand. I don't force my left hand to be as good or better than my right hand. Why? Because that's my natural bent. So what it comes down to is your personality type. Each and every one of us are wired a certain way. Some of us are better at this. Some of us are better at that. And God put us all together on the same planet to work together. No man or woman is an island, therefore we all need to work together. And when you find the right people who are strong where you are weak in your attributes, now if you surround yourself with these people, 2, 3, 20, 30 people, all helping each other to accomplish each other's purpose on the planet, because they too can help you with your purpose. So if you don't know what your purpose is, get around people who do know what their purpose is, and soon enough you'll get enough of a consensus, if you will, where's the best place to go learn about finding out your purpose on the planet. That's what I got on that.
What do you think about that, Henry? You still with us?
Well, yeah, I'm still with you. I'm 39, and life's purpose is, it's a huge thing, because it's a huge thing for me, because as of now, I'm serving almost 70% of my 16,000 members, which are all older than me. So they're over 40s, 50s, up to 90s.
Why are they all? Why are they all? Why are they?
I don't know. Those are the market that I attracted. Those are the market that I attracted on my program, and they love being there. They love socializing with each other. It's my social network is actually a social network for baby boomers. So
Oh, that's why.
basically, I have to deal with both negative and positive energies here and there, and then we also create prayer forums for for those who are sick, for those who need some prayer guidance and so forth. Okay, so my life's purpose, when I realized it, is that, well, it's sort of like they are more, I attract more people that are older than me, and these people are actually listening to someone younger than them. So, which is cool here on the internet, because in real life, I can't even get my mother to talk talk to me seriously. So, but and they don't know what I'm doing sitting in front of my computer all day.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good purpose, serving people older. That's a really interesting one. Preston, what about you?
Yeah, I would say, purpose, you have to have a purpose in life. I mean, just to get up in the morning, you better have a purpose. But I also think it stems from a big why. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing. And once you start answering that question, why, you're going to find all the rest kind of come into place. And, I didn't learn that until just recently, because there was a book by, I can't remember the guy name, who has a book called Why or something like that. And I was going through it, and I was just like, that absolutely makes sense. You have to have a big why for doing what you're doing, and then your purpose will be found. Now, with me, of course, my why is different than what most other people's whys are, because I have my own personal reflection of what I've done in the last 20, 25 years in a career or in a business or whatever else I was doing. And the people that have come into my lives, mostly spiritual, have really helped gain a lot of quality in my life that I didn't have before, even in the internet.
Yeah, I know that's a really, really good point. I forget the famous TED video where he talked about the why question. We've all got to answer, why are we doing this? I mean,
yeah,
once you know the answer to that.
Simon Sinek had the start with why.
Yeah, I mean, everybody should watch that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's a mandatory video.
Well, he tells you.
I'm going to wind this down. Why don't anybody that's still with us, any parting thoughts, and then I'm going to give the close, and you can stay around for a few minutes after we stop the broadcast. But I just want to say, I knew we could just barely scratch the surface on this, but this was kind of an interesting hangout. So anybody that's still with us, parting thoughts, anything?
I would like to leave with the thought of what Preston brought up, the why. You need a why. One of the best one-liners I ever heard was, is your why bigger than your but? B-U-T. The but is your excuse for not doing the thing that your why says you should do. So if your why is smaller than your excuse, then you're going to start something and not finish it. And how many of us have done that? So the key is know your why. Right? Know your why, and your why must be bigger than any excuse, and you will go the distance. I'd like to leave with that.
Awesome. Anyone else? Let me close this now because we're coming on almost exactly 45 minutes, and we don't want to go too long. Feel free to hang around, offline if you want. This has been a special presentation of the entrepreneur, self-employed, and small business community on Google+. Today we talked about the special relationship between personal growth and entrepreneurship. Learned a lot today, but like I said, barely scratched the surface. So we're going to have to revisit this one again. Thank you for joining us. We're going to do this again, so we will catch you next time. Thank you, everybody. Okay, we're off the air. We can cuss and swear now, or anything you want. Break up the scars. Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. How did we do today?
It's good. another good talk with another learning session.
It's 3 a.m. there, so you're probably going to want to get to sleep pretty soon.
You should, definitely. I don't know. How about you?
And Henry, have Rob send you the email that I sent him.
It just failed to stop broadcast, so we've been talking anyway, so let me try again.
Oops. You're live.
I was bloated.
People can see what a green room is all
Oh,
about.
live it says. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
I think we're still live.
We are still live.
It says stopping now.
It says stopping.
Stop
One
it.
of the,
Well,
one of
while
those
while you're fixing the stop button, let me just, since I don't know Henry all that well
They
yet,
don't stop podcast. It doesn't want to stop.
it won't
Doesn't
stop.
want to.
No, it won't stop.
Must be a reason for
Well,
I'm going to swear. Maybe if I start swearing.
obviously, maybe we should broadcast the green room talk. You know, I for one,
Well, anyway, I'm going to run.
I love recording.
Let's do this again. And again, if any of you want to host one of these hangouts, just let us know. We'll help you. So that's why I kind of wanted to get that out in the beginning. So I'm going to run. You guys can feel free to hang around and talk. I think we're on the air.
Well, I guess
Anyway.
after we all leave, it'll end and just kind of end by itself, hopefully. So
Yeah, it says it failed again. So oh well. Anyway, thanks everybody. We'll catch you next time.
thanks, Rob.
That's right.
So, Henry, if you're going to stick around for just a second, I'd like to just make an observation here. So, one, I always love meeting people, especially new people, and especially people who are, well, in the same genre as myself. You know, I know Preston, I know Rob, not all that well, so I could always go, you know, deeper in the relationship, even with people that I do know well. But for you, Henry, a couple of things I just want to put out there. Number one, my father's middle name is Henry.
Yeah, my friend's middle name is Henry as well.
Just saying. Okay. And you know, when you had me at Night Owl, okay? When you shared your introduction, I always listen for keywords in people's introductions, and I hope they share something that is just not the ordinary thing that people share about themselves. Just something a little different about them. You know, what makes them tick, what ticks them off, that kind of thing. And when you said Night Owl, I said, Henry's my kind of guy, because I do my best work at night. You know, you don't hear streetcar